I'm Zach Walters, and this is my presentation over what factors affect how a manager leads people in an organization. First, let's look over what we'll cover throughout this presentation. We will first cover what is a leader, great leaders and their leadership styles, different leadership styles, why using different leadership styles is important, factors that affect managerial leadership, and a summary of topics covered. First, let's look at leadership. Leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence and guide followers or members of an organization. Leadership applies to those leading groups of teams, but also to those in managerial positions leading their employees. Next, let's look at some famous leaders and their leadership styles. For these two famous leaders, I chose Nelson Mandela and Warren Buffett. Nelson Mandela was a revolutionary and a former president of South Africa. Nelson Mandela used servant leadership. The goal of a servant leader is to serve the followers. Warren Buffett is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett has a laissez-faire leadership style. He has trust in his followers or employees to do what needs to be done. A laissez-faire leader is a very step-back leader from the process. Now let's look into some other leadership styles. First, let's look at situational leadership. Situational leadership is applying your management style to unique situations or tasks to meet the needs of the team. This allows managers to adapt to the team members and to lead them in the best way possible. This type of leadership is best for flexible managers who are able to adapt to each team member's needs. Next, let's look at leader-member exchange. Leader-member exchange, or the LMX theory, is a relationship between leaders and followers. This relationship is a two-way relationship that can grow stronger as the leaders and followers work together. This leadership method focuses on communication and relationships leaders and followers have. This is a dyadic relationship between leaders and followers. It is a very back-and-forth communication process. Now let's look at path goal theory. Path goal theory is a leader's behavior to push employees to reach a goal and to move obstacles to help them reach the goal. This leadership theory is very goal-oriented and the leader working with the followers. This theory relies on leader behaviors and follower and task characteristics. The leader's behavior is to motivate followers. The leader first must understand the follower characteristics and the task characteristics to be able to motivate the followers in the best way possible to reach the goals. Next, let's look at why using different leadership styles is important. First, before we understand why it's important, we must understand leadership characteristics. This is who the leader is and their personality. We must also understand who the follower is and how the follower wants or needs to be led. We also need to consider situational characteristics. Situational characteristics are characteristics of a certain situation that a leader and a follower must understand before they are able to work together. The leader must also understand the situation and the follower before they decide which leadership style to choose. It is important for a leader to understand themselves, their followers, and the situation before they make any leadership style. On the right, you see a graph. This graph shows leadership styles: laissez-faire, transformational, democratic, and autocratic. Leaders must first understand how they are with people emphasis and task emphasis. It is important for a leader to understand this so they know if they are more of a transformational leader who is more focused on people or an autocratic leader who is more focused on task. This is important because a different situation and different followers may be necessary for these different types of leadership styles. Now let's look at factors that affect managerial leadership. A manager may choose a leadership style based off positive and negative effects that followers or themselves encounter. First, let's look at the positive characteristics. Honesty. Honesty can be honesty between the follower and the leader, or the one-way communication that the leader gives the followers. Another factor is goal-oriented. Goal-oriented can be concerned with the followers of the leaders reaching the goal, but also the focus they have on the goal. The third positive is understanding. An understanding leader can look past mishaps as long as they understand the followers. This is really healthy to build a strong relationship between the leaders and the followers. The fourth is team-oriented. A team-oriented leader focuses on the team as a whole instead of select individuals. It is important to do this, especially on team projects, so they are able to reach the goal together. The fifth is a flexible leader, or flexible followers. This allows leaders and followers to work together whenever mishaps happen so that they can push past them. Finally is clear communication. Clear communication is important for any leader or any follower to have in the process of a team-oriented goal. Now let's look at the negatives. The first is lack of accountability. A leader who lacks accountability is one who does not care for what is happening and will not be accountable for their actions and may push their actions onto followers. The second is a leader with poor vision for the future. This type of leader focuses on what is happening right now and does not look into the future. This kind of leader will cause problems down the road because they have not prepared for what may happen. The third is a negative follower, or a negative leader. These kind of negative people are unhealthy for a team to reach the goal. Fourth is a leader or a follower who is comfortable with the status quo. These types of people are uncomfortable with change and do not wish change to happen. Next is lack of authority. Usually lack of authority falls onto the leader because they cannot control the followers. Finally is a poor communication. Poor communication can happen between the leader or the follower, but if poor communication is there, the process will not move smoothly. We have covered what a leader is, great leaders and their leadership styles, different types of leadership, why using different leadership styles is important, and factors that affect managerial leadership.